So now let's look at some more advanced concepts in pointers. So we had used pointers for integers, characters so far. Now let's see how to use pointers or pointer to a structure, right? So this is the structure, struct tag, which has an integer and a character. So we have an array, right, where two elements are there. This is array of structures with two elements, and then we have a pointer to the structure, struct tag star ptr, right? This is a pointer to a structure. So in main, we are actually pointing it to the base address of the structure. So it points to the address of a of 0, right? So that's the pointing to the base address of the structure. Now star of ptr dot I equal to 10. So this is the way you will access the value of I, right? And ptr dot j. So the first element of this array, we are accessing the I and j, right? Now if you do ptr plus plus, it will jump by 3 plus 1 4 bytes, right? So it will jump to the second element because it's a pointer of type struct tag. So struct tag size is 3, so it will jump by 3 elements, and then again you are storing 11 and b. So here 11 and b will get stored. ptr plus plus, it will point to the next element in the array, which is not valid. Now you are printing I and j. Let's run this program. ptr is a. So now if you look at it, it's pointing to the base element of the array. Dot I is 10, dot j is a. If you see, these two are updated. ptr plus plus, now it's pointing to the second element, right? This is the index 1. Now it is being changed to 11 and b, right? ptr plus plus. So now it is pointing to null element, right? Which is after this, which is not at all valid. So if you're trying to access now, it will crash the program because it's called null pointer exception. It is pointing outside of this array, right? It will throw an exception called null pointer exception and it will crash the program. So if you print the values now, yes, 10a and 11b, because we are directly using the arrays to print this. If we had used the pointer to print it, it will crash. Right now, this is a very cumbersome way to write this, right? So star of ptr dot and others, right? So C provides a much easier way to do this. Instead of doing this complex thing, we can do this, right? So ptr of I, ptr of j, right? So this is an easier way to do it. So here again, you can do ptr of I and ptr of j. This is no different than doing that star, this one, right? So this is a much more easier way to do it. So instead of doing that star of ptr dot I, right? Instead of doing that ptr of I and ptr of j, right? Directly this will update the values. So this is another way to access it. So this is useful only in structures. You cannot use it for any other variable type. Only for structures you can use this arrow mark and the field, right? I and j are the fields of the structure. You can access it, and this has to be a pointer pointing to that structure, and then you can do this property. So this is pointer to a structure. So now that we have seen structure to a structure, now let's look at pointer to a pointer, right? So we saw pointer to a structure. Now we can look at pointer to a pointer. So we have an integer variable a, we have an integer pointer, we have a double pointer, right? That's what it is called, or a pointer to a pointer, right? So what does it mean? Let's look at that. A equal to 10, right? The value of a is 10. ptr equal to ampersand a, so ptr will point to a. ptr will point to the address of ptr, right? That is, it will point to the address here. So if you look at this, run this, ptr is a, so it points here. This points to the address of this, right? Now star is called the dereference operator, which you have seen earlier, right? So when you do a star, it actually gets the value. So first we are doing a star of ptr, which will get the value of this ptr. So the value of ptr is nothing but the address here. So star of star ptr equal to 11 means this dereferencing will lead it to here. This dereferencing will point it here. Now we are saying that the value here will be changed to 11. So here it changes to 11. So why do we need pointers to pointers, right? So we will look at it very shortly, right? When we have to do a two-dimensional array. So let's look at dynamic memory allocation. Then it will be very clear why we need a pointer to a pointer, right? For now, understand that you can have pointer to pointer, a pointer to a structure, even a pointer to a function, right? So you can do pointers for any type that you have seen so far in C, right? So we will see those in a very short time. Now to the last of this part, function pointers. You will rarely use function pointers, right? But do understand that you can even have pointers to functions. So here we have a very small function which does not return anything, but it takes an integer argument, right? So here we are declaring a pointer of that type. So void, which is the return type, and then here you have the function, a pointer to a function. This is how you give a pointer to a function which takes an integer argument, right? So now we have declared that. So this funPTR can now point to a function which returns void and takes integer as argument. So now funPTR is equal to ampersand address of fun, so which is this, right? And now you can call that function with the value. So star funPTR will actually be the calling the function of 10, right? Let's look at this. So here, if you look at it, it's calling the function and it's printing the value 10, right? So this is the advantage of function pointer, right? So, but you rarely use function pointers. Just remember that you can also have pointers to functions. So in this chapter, we have seen pointers to structures, pointers to pointers, and pointers to functions. And in this case, pointers to structure is very, very popular. You will use it quite a lot. That arrow operator is also very popular. So there are two additional concepts called array of pointers and pointer to an array. We are intentionally skipping it because these are very, very rarely used like function pointers. So let's not confuse ourselves with those concepts right now.